This episode of Road to AAPEX is sponsored by Transtar.
Hello, and welcome to the Automotive Aftermarket History class. It's great to have you here. I thought today, in order for us to understand the automotive aftermarket history, we need to look way back to the turn of the century. In order to do that, we've got to look at the original equipment manufacturers because it's those cars that they produce that actually allow the automotive aftermarket to even exist. So in 1908, we're going to start with Henry Ford. He produces the first Model T. The significance of the Model T is that it puts the car in the common man's hands. He also then later came up with the mechanized assembly line. By 1927, there were 15 million Model Ts produced already, and he's not the only automotive manufacturer at the time. At the same time, many aftermarket manufacturers were founded, the likes of Raybestos, Champion, and many, many more. Early distribution channels were also developing at this time and taking shape. The one that comes to mind in 1925 is Napa. Automotive manufacturers at the time, the original equipment manufacturers that is, were focused on selling cars, not on parts and service of those vehicles. There's a tremendous amount of cars out there to be serviced, and the automotive aftermarket was there to do it. In the 1930s and the 1940s, the big three were focused on labor negotiations. During this time, the automotive manufacturers were distracted, and the automotive aftermarket continued to grow even more. Tremendous growth also caused some blurring of the lines on who was producing the parts. Due to the volumes involved, the original equipment manufacturers could not possibly supply all of the parts. Plus, there was innovation going on in the automotive aftermarket that the OEs wanted to take part in. But the parts clearly were marked automotive aftermarket manufacturers or with proper numbers for the OE. Distribution channels by this time were solidifying very solidly into three-step distribution. That included the manufacturer, the warehouse distributor, and the jobber. The jobber then delivered the parts to the person who was going to consume the parts. Also in the 1930s, Washington stepped in with the Robinson and Patman Act in 1936. It was designed to protect the traditional channel with pricing legislation against the new upstarts of the chain stores. It said that you had to price by function. At the same time, service stations were on 3 out of every 4 corners. Business was booming at this time because there were many parts components that needed to be replaced every 5,000 miles with parts like spark plugs, distributor caps, and the like. After the war, the American driveways were starting to have 2 cars. Cars were cool, and they were part of the Americana going on. The 60s brought more prosperity, but also some interesting changes. Chain stores were starting to evolve, and there were many more of them. More people were starting to work on their cars due to many forces. By the time the 70s came around, change was definitely in the air. The automotive aftermarket got a real boost from Washington with Magnuson-Moss that is passed in 1975. Magnuson-Moss protected consumer warranty in that they didn't have to use original equipment parts to keep the warranty valid. DIY is becoming an even bigger part of the business as people start to feel the crunch from the gas prices that were creating long lines at the service stations. Additionally, at this time, the role of the service station starts to change dramatically. The 80s brought consistent growth in the aftermarket. Some interesting trends start to solidify. DIY really started to take off. To meet this demand, distribution saw an increase in DIY-focused locations. Two-step distribution started to gain in popularity. This was brought about from the improved inventory and logistics at the distributor level, along with pricing pressures being brought on by the chain locations. Service stations started to disappear and convert to convenience locations. Traditional distribution started to respond with programmed distribution groups during this time. The 90s and the early 2000s saw these trends continue. During this time, publicly traded chains gained popularity and today's footprint started to take shape. A big change that started was towards the end of the 90s, vehicle complexity and parts proliferation started to affect the aftermarket. Now, 20 years later, here we are. Publicly traded distribution accounts for about 40 to 50% of the storefronts. Program groups have started to consolidate due to improved technologies and internet-based transactions. The internet has brought total price transparency to the market. In 2013, voters in Massachusetts passed Right to Repair, which solidified the automotive aftermarket's ability to have information to service the cars properly. Here's what hasn't changed in the automotive aftermarket after all these years. There's still an abundance of vehicles to repair. The OE footprint can't possibly service them all. The OEs cannot provide the parts in 30 minutes like the automotive aftermarket can and has done for years. It's big business. $477 billion to be exact. 292 million vehicles on the road with an average age of 12.5 years. We drive those vehicles to the tune of 3 trillion miles a year. The automotive aftermarket specializes in change and always has. It'll be here for the next 100 years, keeping those parts available to keep those 292 million vehicles on the road today and into the future. Thanks for being with us.
United Motor Products has been manufacturing and delivering OEM replacement engine management products for 35 years, trusted by installers for over 3 decades. You can be sure United Motor Products produces and delivers the quality products you can trust. Visit UnitedMotorProducts.com.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Yeah.
Really?
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 Really. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Transtar Industries is a global leader in aftermarket distribution with 45 years of experience offering speedy delivery on transmission, differential, and AC parts through local stocked branches and a national distribution network. Transtar now offers high-quality OE recycled transmissions and transfer cases, a perfect choice for cost-conscious customers. Transtar is continuing to expand product offerings including brakes, electrical, steering, suspension, and more, helping you to provide your customers with fast, reliable service. Transtar parts are available for online ordering through transcend.us or right through your shop management system. Ordering with Transtar has never been easier.
We are MPA, Motor Car Parts of America, a global manufacturer of light and heavy-duty rotating electric, brake parts, wheel hubs and bearings, turbochargers, and electrical component testing. MPA, the global leader for parts and solutions.
Anybody who's been in the industry for a long time can relate and remember what it was like getting parts at your local parts store years and years ago. If they didn't have it, you were pretty much out of luck, maybe more than a couple days. You know, fast forward to today, it's really easy to get parts now. Now you can go on Transcend and click and get the parts same day delivered to your shop, or a lot of other places, you know, a couple hours they can get it for you, even if they don't have it in stock as well. Really big change since back in the day. Distribution has changed quite a bit as well. Transtar, they've got a great formula on how they do it, and David Sickels is with them now, and they're going to talk how they get it done.
Distribution. If there is an unsung hero in the automotive aftermarket, it's distribution. Right now, there is somebody at shops all around the country who is ordering a part that needs it by tomorrow, or even better, today. But how is the automotive aftermarket keeping up with these customer demands? We're here speaking with Tom DeMille, the Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Transtar Industries at their location in Walton Hills, close to Cleveland, Ohio. So, how do they do it? Let's find out. It's easy to take for granted the unbelievable agility and organization necessary to make logistics move at a rate that we demand as consumers. And we've got it down to a simple 3-step science. Pull out your phone, look up the part number, order the part. But to actually get that part to your door, dozens or perhaps hundreds of steps need to be made with precision and in perfect harmony. But let's back up for a moment, because it's hard to talk about what it takes to pull off a lean, mean distribution network machine in 2023 without referencing how COVID utterly shattered the supply chain as we knew it. For distributors like Transtar, the combination of dealing with major kinks in the supply chain while simultaneously seeing customer demands and expectations spike compelled immediate action to stay at the top of their game. Ultimately, it's the story of turning a negative situation into a huge positive.
COVID obviously presented challenges across the business, not just in delivery. Right around the time of COVID, I think post-COVID, we took our entire fleet in-house. So from a COVID perspective, we were able to do things like contactless delivery, but that's really evolved to the point now where when you look at the hard part of the delivery business, such as core and returns, the reverse side of it, getting parts onto a pick ticket is one thing. Getting them to the shop, it turns into a logistics business at that point. And we found having our own fleet in-house has really done a lot to improve customer service, make us more efficient, make them more efficient, and ultimately make our customers more profitable.
The whole situation caused Tom and his team to take a hard look at their distribution network. It just goes to show how important evolution is in the automotive aftermarket. Whether you're talking about R&D or manufacturing, warehousing, or distribution, you name it. It's why you'll see the latest and greatest in all of these areas and more at every AAPEX show.
Every vehicle ultimately ends up in the aftermarket. You have this warranty period where things may go back to the dealer, and then the aftermarket is just critical to consumers, vehicle repair, in order to keep cars on the road and to keep transportation moving along. What we've done from a product line perspective is we've kind of put contingency plans in place across the product line, carrying multiple levels of material for certain products. So if we can't get a customer due to supply chain constraint exactly what they want on the order, we want to have something to help them get the car off the lift and back out on the road. The biggest technology we have implemented is our online ordering system, which is called Transcend. It's phenomenal, especially in the automotive aftermarket. We've kind of recreated all of the data in the industry, especially with transmission parts, which are notoriously hard to look up. We've got over 370,000 searchable parts in Transcend, and the goal is to take the guesswork out of the ordering process, get the perfect parts, perfect order onto the pick ticket, let the customers know when they're going to get it, so we'll show a delivery window and what they can expect. In 2022, we launched a comprehensive line of air conditioning components, and we've had great success with that. Last couple of months, we've become a member of the Pronto network, and we are now involved with the rest of the car. So we're doing everything from undercar, chassis, suspension, brakes, rotors, batteries, electrical. We recently opened a brand new branch that carries these new products, and we're looking to expand our network across our existing 70-plus locations in North America, as well as open a lot of new locations to bring these other products to market.
If you want to make it in this industry, you gotta have the parts, which makes these distributors like Transtar, who is investing in the technology and the people to get these parts to shops faster, so vital for the evolution of the automotive aftermarket.
entire weight of today's vehicle is supported on a surface smaller than a credit card, inside the wheel hub assembly. With so much riding on it, why would you use something other than OE quality replacement parts? OE quality, premium product. BCA bearings by NTN. At 1-800-EVERY-RIM OEM Wheels, with a massive inventory, we buy and sell reconditioned, new takeoff, and used OEM replacement wheels, all backed by over 150 years of combined experience. Text pictures to 951-RIM-TEXT or visit us online at 1-800-EVERYRIM.com. Aishin is a trusted and reliable source for high-quality aftermarket automotive components and technology. We redefine mobility through our broad range of technologies and product lines. At Aishin, we are poised to embrace the future, inspiring movement and creating tomorrow.
Hardworking hands need a hardworking shop towel. Tough on everything from heavy metals and grease to tar and adhesives, Gojo scrubbing towels can be used anywhere heavy-duty hand and surface cleaning is required without water, even on the road to AAPEX. Since 1927, AP Emissions has been your source for complete exhaust innovation. We're your one-stop shop for the exhaust brands you know and the quality you trust. Visit apemissions.com.
The eastern end of the Lincoln Highway starts in Times Square, works its way through New Jersey and across Pennsylvania and West Virginia. The highway passes through Canton, Ohio, in Babcox's backyard, and this is where our road to AAPEX began. Our journey westward in our trusty Lincoln Blackwood was not just about seeing old roads and buildings. The cities and stops along the Lincoln Highway make you realize just how forward-thinking its pioneers were in the early 20th century, while giving you a glimpse into American motoring from that day. The people you meet, the stops you make, the road you take, and the car you drive make traveling the Lincoln Highway a unique experience for each and every person. As the Silver City appears over the horizon, the road to AAPEX diverges from the Lincoln Highway, which continues west through Nevada. The highway splits at the Sierra Nevada mountains, with the northern route passing through Reno over Donner Pass, and the southern route passing by Lake Tahoe over Echo Summit. The routes converge in Sacramento for the highway's final leg, which swings south to San Francisco. Entering Lincoln Park, it's worth stopping to see the Legion of Honor, the fine art museum that first opened in the 1920s, as well as memorials to World War II and Holocaust victims. By an unassuming bus stop, you'll find the final concrete marker, signifying the western terminus of the Lincoln Highway. Here, your journey along the length of the Lincoln Highway can either end or begin. Our journey on the road to AAPEX is also coming to a close as we enter Las Vegas and prepare to arrive at the AAPEX show.
Here we go.
$2,275 miles. Made it to Vegas. As you can see, Blackwood ran great. And you know, the Lincoln Highway was everything I hoped it was and a lot more. Had a lot of fun along the way, met some great, interesting people who were doing the same thing we were, traveling the Lincoln Highway. Remember, sometimes the destination is the journey that you just did. Have fun, check out America, and you know what? We're headed over to the Venetian right now to get ready for the AAPEX show. I'm gonna pull that truck in and we're gonna get set up.
Here we go.
What a journey. But hey, we made it to the AAPEX show. We're a couple days early, not a problem at all. I gotta get this thing cleaned up and get it set up at our booth at the AAPEX show for the reception. But what is the AAPEX show exactly? My friend Scott is gonna tell you all about that. I'll be right back.
Welcome back to the road to AAPEX. If you recall several episodes ago, we looked at the AAPEX show that's held in Las Vegas every year for the automotive aftermarket. We talked about the size, the breadth, and the depth of all the products that are shown and showcased at that show. I thought it would be important for us to take a look back in the history to see how this show became what it is today. The best way to do that is by personal experiences. I've only been going to the show since the 1980s, but luckily our John Zick here from Babcox has been going to this show and the earlier shows from the 1970s. So I thought we would sit down with John and talk to him about the road to today for AAPEX. So let's go talk to John. So my memory of the automotive aftermarket starts sometime in the mid-80s. So I thought I would bring along with us a visiting dignitary from Babcox who has probably been going to these automotive aftermarket shows longer than anybody else in the company, Mr. John Zick from our West Coast office. John, welcome.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for having me on.
When did you start going to automotive aftermarket shows? Which ones were they, and what do you remember about them?
I started working with Babcox back in 1976, bicentennial year. And prior to that, I was working in the newspaper business. So I was mostly involved in retail type marketing. It was an interesting process, learning that industry, especially how big it was and how broad-based it was. And as far as the trade shows, there seemed to be one almost every weekend someplace out there. And then the biggest shows was referred to as the Big I Show, which was in Chicago, always right around March of the year. And that was every 2 years in Chicago. And the Big I was representative of the Asia Association and MEMA. And these shows were part and parcel of the backbone of the industry. So you'd always have the Big I Show in March, and then probably in September you had another show, which was for the retail side of the marketplace, called APAA. And that was mostly like the AutoZones, the direct sell type companies out there. Every 2 years, they would have the Big I Show split into two parts. One would be going out west, called the Pacific Automotive Show, and then one would be going east, called the Big E Show, which is always in Atlantic City. The West Coast show always went from different parts of California and Vegas. So Anaheim, LA, Las Vegas. I think the industry reached a point where they were showed out. They were getting a lot of the same people, and everybody started, looking at different ways to economize and make it more efficient for the suppliers, as well as the folks that come to the shows. And at the same time, Asia merged with APAA. So the wholesale side of the association marketplace merged with the retail side of the market. And with that, the MEMA still was the second partner of that. They decided to put one show on, and that ultimately became the AAPEX show, which was always in Las Vegas.
If I can stop you, we went from the shows in Chicago at McCormick, and then then there'd be one on the East Coast, and then there'd be one on the West Coast, and then they'd come back and do another one in Chicago. So it was this constant leapfrogging back and forth for both the customers and the suppliers, and you had multiple associations involved. So now fast forward to where we are now with AAPEX, with the current situation. We've got the Auto Care Association and the MEMA Aftermarket Suppliers Group that put on AAPEX and have for many, many years in one location every year. Well, John, as we reflect on all of this change, since you've seen it from before I did and all throughout the rest of the same time that I did, is there anything that strikes you about what makes AAPEX so valuable then and now to the industry?
The industry has been changing. They always reflect that the automotive aftermarket is like this big ship in the ocean, and it takes a long time for it to move. And I think with the advent of the AAPEX show, it showed the reflection of the changes in the marketplace a little bit quicker, because they were able to bring in a lot of different factions that created the show to be of interest relative to the new technology that are coming into the vehicles, how the marketplace is going to the market.
You know, John, I hear you talk about the Leviathan, if you will, of the automotive aftermarket, how it's this huge ship and it changes over time. I personally think that the automotive aftermarket is way more nimble than the original equipment side, and that's the reason that we have managed to succeed and are still here, because we can pivot as a total market and create and meet the needs for the customers as they change.
It amazes me that how this industry can maintain inventory and application for cars that go back 15 years. And you look at other industries, there's no way that any factions of those industries can have that kind of coverage.
Absolutely, and it continues to amaze me through the years because of my OE background and my aftermarket background, that the one thing that makes this industry tremendously different, and you touched on it, is our ability to have the right part for the right vehicle pretty much within 30 minutes anywhere in the United States. Our competition on the OE side can't get anywhere near that.
That's our gold standard, in my opinion.
It's really what makes it work, isn't it? And then the nice thing about AAPEX is it provides us a tremendous opportunity for training, and it allows the suppliers to showcase their new products, and actually downstairs at Joe's Garage, they can now actually show the installation of those and the best practices for installing those products on the vehicles right there at AAPEX in Joe's Garage. The internet has done wonderful things in terms of making training available, ACES and PIES imaging. The associations have done a great job of working with the suppliers to get the most amount of information over the internet. But to your point today, if a shop owner, and that's the person that actually consumes the part and throws the box away, right? If he wants to, or she wants to see or touch or actually be a part of it, really the only place for them to go is AAPEX.
Absolutely, because it touches all the areas of the industry that they're going to be touching. You know, as far as vehicle make and models, it's all in front of them.
Exactly. Well, John, I want to really thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us and talk about the history and a little bit about today and a little bit about our thoughts on the future. And I can honestly tell you, John, I look forward to being at AAPEX shows with you for a long time.
Likewise, Scott, I appreciate the time to have a chat with you.
All right. You take care and have a great day.
Will do.
That certainly was a great talk with John, and I hope you learned as much about the early automotive aftermarket shows as I did. The beauty of the automotive aftermarket is it grows and grows and grows and continues to grow. Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Scott. Now that you know what the AAPEX show is, it's the Super Bowl of automotive aftermarket. The reception kicks off October 31st, 2023, which will be the 110th anniversary to the date of the Lincoln Highway. We got a couple celebrations that day, and I can't wait to see you there. Come check out the Blackwood and say hello.
TYC develops and manufactures the latest state-of-the-art automotive products of the utmost quality. With the latest in engineering and state-of-the-art robotic manufacturing, TYC products are guaranteed to be of the best quality with exceptional performance. Visit tycamericas.com to find out more.
For the ones who demand the best, there's a Coates machine to get the job done right. Precision that never quits. Toughness that defines legends. Coates, engineered to perform, designed to last. Visit CoatesCompany.com to learn more.
When the OE part fails, count on the brand with world-class engineering, precision manufacturing, and more than 100 years of experience. When OE fails, trust Standard. What's in your box?
Aftermarket Armor introduces a bed liner that has a 4-hour pot life, which is twice as long as the competition, giving you the needed time to complete the job. A proprietary formulated product giving you the best UV resistance, protecting your vehicle from sun fade for years to come. Find out more at aftermarketarmor.com. Today's technicians look to the aftermarket for quality parts so they can turn their bays and get their customers back on the road. BCA Bearings by NTN provides OE quality wheel hubs, bearings, and seals to ensure that when customers come back, they come back for the great service.
Here he is. Look at me. Joe!
Hi, Joe.
Oh,
good to see you.
Hey, welcome to another successful road trip to AAPEX.
It was an incredible journey. We really enjoyed watching it. And thank you so much for sharing the story of our incredible industry across the country.
Thanks for your help and the help from our vehicle care partners that helped the Blackwood get across the Lincoln Highway in time for AAPEX 2023. Guys, what do we have in store for AAPEX this year?
2 words, full house. We've got 2,600 exhibitors representing more than 44 countries. We have 46,000 buyers that are representing 111 countries. So we are back and ready to go.
And don't forget about Joe's Garage.
That's right.
We got over 100 training sessions done by some of the industry's best experts. Of course, we have you here with the Blackwood to share some of your war stories from the road trip.
Yeah, and hey, maybe once the show is over, the 3 of us go hit Las Vegas Boulevard and take her for a spin.
I think we're both a little busy.
So, Joe, we're going to need those keys. Thank you, but we brought you a cannoli. See you next year.
Thanks, Joe.
They took the keys. How am I supposed to get home?